White House zeroes in on divisive political narratives at the Smithsonian Institute. So here's the cucks thinking it's all getting fixed. President Donald Trump's administration is once again reportedly taking aim at the Smithsonian Institution for promoting biased narratives, this time at the National Museum of American History. Now let's go down here to the bottom. In March, Trump took aim at the anti-American ideology infecting the Smithsonian Institution by signing an executive order, according to Breitbart News. Fact sheet read in part, the order directs the vice president, below job, Vance, who is a member of the Smithsonian Board of Regents, to work to eliminate improper, divisive, or anti-American ideology from the Smithsonian. They won't say anti-white because nothing in America is white, according to the anti-whites of both sides, including, it says here, I just wanted to hit upon this, and we'll keep rolling. Smithsonian African American History and Culture included a webpage about whiteness. Remember, we just looked at Noel Ignatieff a little earlier. In America, that defined whiteness, white people, to include individualism, unfortunately, science, and hard work. A few years later, Smithsonian was planning to include trans women in its projected museum. Let's see. They told Fox administration that they want to fix the issues because framing American culture as inherently violent, imperialist, or racist. Now get this. No, the cucks are not going to fight for white people. They're not going to say, hey, you got to get rid of this anti-whiteism there. No. Instead, they want to disavow everything that is of us and claim that it belongs to the world and that America is improving from those old days. Well, what does that mean? Those old days when it was all white? Look here. Framing American culture as inherently violent, imperialist, or racist does not reflect the greatness of our nation or the millions of Americans who have contributed to its progress. There it is. Contributed. The millions of Americans who have contributed to its progress. So, America has grown away from all of those awful issues of being racist and imperialist and violent. That's, of course, a kindergartner will be able to look and say, that's the founding fathers. That's when the country was all white. So it was bad, according to the cucks, when it was all white. And the cucks are definitely not defending white people. No, they're disavowing everything that is white so that the world belongs to America. America belongs to the world. There isn't any particular group. It's an opinion. And that if there was any bad in the past, according to the cucks, it's when everything was all white. That is what the right wing gives you in the West, ladies and gentlemen. If they can't say white race, if they can't say anti-whiteism, they are anti-white. End of conversation. Justice Alito, do you remember when good old hierarch of the white race of Western kind for you explained the finding of the Supreme Court and exactly what they had to do?
Justice Samuel Alito dissenting from the Supreme Court ruling blocking deportations of suspected Venezuelan gang members, saying, quote, in sum, literally in the middle of the night, the court issued unprecedented, legally questionable relief without giving the lower courts a chance to rule. This is why the White House releases rap sheets, photos of TDA members it wants to deport. Here to react.
All right. I told you there were at least 3 other avenues that I had read from legal experts for district judges to circumvent, to undermine the executive in the United States. And here you have Alito stepping forward now saying, raising concerns about a potentially significant loophole in that finding. The big cuck victory we just had in the Supreme Court decision to curb universal injunctions. And now his warning is hanging over lawsuits involving President Donald Trump. Alito said in his concurring opinion in Trump v. CASA that that the class action lawsuit and lawsuits brought by states leave room for judges to hand down injunctions that, in practice, would function the same way as a universal injunction. You do not fix our situation by voting or violence. An aspect of voting is legality. You cannot fix anti-whiteism with laws. You cannot fix it with voting. You cannot fix it with violence. All of those things are downstream of the social morality of our countries, which is the anti-white immoral imperative. We have the practice that undermines anti-whiteism, that immoral imperative that is the social morality of the West. All you have to do is learn these concepts, not even all of them, share them with friends and family and strangers, and you change the world. We've already demonstrated that it functions as a rapid relief contagion moving through the population for the good of our people. In not only in English-speaking countries, but also in non-English-speaking white countries. Alito himself is telling you, you did nothing, cucks. You did nothing. So you're going to come across these people, not often, maybe often. It depends, I guess, on the circles you're in, where they're going to be like in your face. They're going to say, oh, we just had this. And they're going to have some like nasty beer in their hand, like a natty or something. And they're going to be like, we just had this big victory at that court, that Supreme. We just had that big, not even them damn judges there. They can't overrule the President Trump. Now they can't. Yes, they can. Yes, they can. You've got to talk about anti-whiteism. You have got to talk about, and you drive a truck that's like 13 stories off the ground, but you're not tough enough to say anti-white to your wife. You walk around with a sidearm on your hip, but you can't mention anti-whiteism in front of your 16-year-old daughter. Fuck you, you dickless coward. Step up, white men, or be men. Stop being cowards. Don't go to your family. And I got to mention this again because it's so important. Don't make white well-being or don't make advocacy for white people something that your family hates. Don't march through the house all pissed off. I'm going to slam the chair because them damn nibbas are doing X, Y, and Z. Them damn Jew types, did you just see what the Jew types just did? I'm going to slam the door. No, you can't go out. I'm pissed off today because don't do that. White well-being is love. White well-being is positivity. Sit down at dinner, take everybody's phones away, sit down at dinner, and as a loving father, be a man for once. Talk about our people with love. Lay down hard lines for kids. You will not be anti-white in this house. That is impermissible. The wife said, oh, I don't know about that. You go ahead and you get that. Who is it? Chestnut. What's that guy's name? The song I was just singing. Have that ready to blast. Turn that thing all the way up. Let her know real fast. There's a new sheriff in town. The white male is going to be a man again, whether you like it or not. Make your concern for our people something that the whole family can be happy about, something that the whole family can love. Don't tell me again how tough you are because you've been training MMA for 22 years. You are a pussy if you're not advocating for white well-being. That's the only, it's easy to get into a room with a bunch of other loser males who want to play like they're Bruce Lee or Chuck Norris on a mat somewhere. You're not tough. Don't tell me, don't get into some weight room and everything is circumscribed. Everything is done a specific way. There's a sport where you can tap out. Talk about anti-whiteism. That's the evil of this age. If you can't talk about anti-whiteism, you're a pussy. I don't care how many guns you have. I don't care if you're an airborne ranger. I don't care if you're a Green Beret. I don't care if you're a rescue diver. I don't care what you do. All of that is circumscribed. There are referees, there are managers, there are controllers. It's sports. The only thing out there that takes courage is attacking anti-whiteism. And that's what these people in this community do. So here's Alito telling you, backing me up, you are effed. Because there are at least 3 ways that the anti-whites can continue doing what they were doing. And you know what? There are an infinite number of ways, because human beings will continue to interpret the laws. My cuck friends, vegetables. Do you understand that? Mr. and Mrs. Cauliflower? And you have a judge blocks order barring asylum access. So this judge, even though it's not his jurisdiction, he just blocked Donald Trump from being able to implement, it's being implemented, the executive order that says no more asylum seekers, because it has come to the point of being an invasion. And this district judge says, oh, you can't do that, and has given the Trump administration 2 weeks to file an appeal. And far as I know, the only thing they've said so far is it's not your jurisdiction. Guess what's going to have to happen? As long as the anti-white immoral imperative is the social morality, this doesn't end. And not only does it not end, but you don't have people to contend with it. You need judges who are motivated by a white positive morality to be as creative with their interpretations of the laws. I got to do all the thinking. Finally, we have this guy, and there's some good, there's some not some good to this. 1 million views almost in just a couple of days. Some random guy saying that we need to vote in blatantly pro-white candidates. Let's have a listen.
White people should just start voting in overtly pro-white candidates, because that's what every other group does and have been doing. The mayor of New York is talking about how he wants to raise taxes on affluent white neighborhoods.
Okay, let me jump in right there. The positive, the big positive, is that this is a normal, this is not a change. This is not white people are changing. This is a normal white response. So don't buy into this, oh, there's some kind of big groundswell type of a change that white people have always thought like this. I've talked to them. You've talked to them. Maybe you and your family were one of them. For your whole lives, your parents maybe thought like, your grandparents thought like this. Why didn't it work? Don't allow these anti-Jew spurgs to claim ownership of white people who are saying, we need politicians that represent us. You don't get from hating on Jews to we need white people in office who care about us. There is zero connection. If there were a connection, then all this anti-Jew spurgery out of these schmucks would have had the opposite effect on America than it had. Don't forget, some of us here today were alive before the 1965 Act. And now in 2025, we have Pastor Sparkles. Okay, we have women raping children left and right. So their anti-Jew spurgery garbage, hating people for being born Jewish, does not cause white people to say, we need to have our own politicians. We need to be represented. But that's exactly what these anti-Jew shitbags are trying to do with this video. That's exactly what they're trying to do. Oh, there's some kind of a new groundswell. Absolutely not. White people have looked out into the world for generations in this country and in other countries across the West and have seen non-white groups of people having politicians that appeal to them, have seen white politicians appeal to non-white groups of people, and they see the non-white people getting what they want. And they say to themselves, quite naturally, we should have politicians that care about us. But you know why that didn't happen? Because we didn't have the Go Free dialogic. And still today, we're fighting because so many of these losers are attacking white well-being and Go Free and attacking me personally on almost a daily basis. So what you're seeing here is a normal, healthy sentiment.
In other words, I'm going to use political power to target this group specifically because they got it in an unfair way, and I'm trying to fix this system to redistribute. I don't give a fuck with neighborhoods. In other words, I'm going to use political power to...
So he's talking about a non-white, anti-white politician. Wouldn't it be nice if this guy had been exposed to, as we work diligently and we celebrate every Sunday, and we got a huge number to celebrate today? Wouldn't it be nice if he had been exposed and he could say these anti-white politicians? Why would that be important? Because if we redirect the focus for his million audience to us and our well-being, white people start thinking that way. Instead of that, we have this, which is what? Wish listing, which does nothing.
Target this group specifically because they got it in an unfair way, and I'm trying to fix this system.
Okay, so he's making what? An anti-white argument for the politicians. He's saying, here's what they say, and he's doing it in a really clumsy way because he's not used to doing it. What if he had these anti-white politicians get into these offices and they make these excuses that victimize white people? They harm white people as a consequence of this. Wouldn't that be grand if this guy could be exposed to that? But he won't. He won't. Because all of these losers out there are standing in the way.